Hello everybody, it's your friendly digital technology librarian, Christy here. Thanksgiving is just around the corner and I thought what a perfect time to take a look at some movies and really explore the concept of family. These films are not traditional holiday movies by any means. They're not even all warm and fuzzy like we usually think of holiday films as being, but they all do a really excellent job of looking at the concept of family. What makes a family? Is the connection of blood stronger than the connection of shared experiences? Is a shared history more important than a common present? Uh, some of these are funny, some of these are somewhat tragic, some of these are just little slices of life all accumulated together. And I can honestly say that I really enjoy all of these movies. They all sort of dig into different aspects of the concept of bonds and family, and I think are all really beautiful in their own ways. So hopefully one of these will really resonate with you. If none of them do, though, you should still check out our video services. We have three really fantastic streaming options for you. There's CleveNet's Overdrive, Hoopla Digital, and Canopy, all of which are available entirely for free with the use of your Milan Berlin Library Card. So again, if none of these appeal, definitely check out all of your other options. There are literally thousands upon thousands of them in there. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right into the Rex. Okay, my first recommendation for this week is a beautiful Japanese film from 2018 called Shoplifters. Shoplifters is a Hirokazu Koreeda film. Koreeda is one of those writer-directors who's been making movies for a couple of decades and manages to have consistently created something beautiful essentially every single time he works. I've watched pretty much all of the films that are available to us to see here in the States, and every single one of his movies that I've watched has resonated with me in some way. Like, he just has this strange gift of making small moments seem huge, seem epic in a way that's totally relatable. No matter how far flung these characters are, how different their lives might be from your own, there's still this connecting thread, and he does this every single time. Now, a lot of his movies feature characters that are quite ordinary, that are experiencing just ordinary slices of life, things that could happen to everyone or anyone. Shoplifters is a little bit different, and I find that fascinating. So, Shoplifters focuses on this somewhat dysfunctional group of people who all act as one another's found family members. They have no blood relation. They come from very different origins, and they're all very much outliers in Japanese society. They aren't following the rules the way citizens normally would be expected to culturally. And regardless of that sort of outsider experience, they're all such a tightly knit group. Maybe it's because of the fact that they're all outliers and that they're all so divided from standard society, and that commonality is what creates this new family. But it really is incredible to watch. This one is not, I would say this one is not a happy movie in the traditional sense, but it is a beautiful film. So this group of sort of misfits, they they commit like petty crime at times. They do things that society is definitely not going to smile upon, and yet you still really like all of the individuals. You understand what pushes them to do some of the things they do, to make the choices that they do, and at heart they really are good people. There's a moment in the film where it feels like everything is going to take a turn, a really terrible turn. And in some regards, bad things happen to some of these people, but at the same time you see how that thread of goodness is still very, very apparent. um how the concept of biological connection is in fact not necessarily more important than that chosen connection. The fact that the love that they all feel for one another is stronger than any biological bond might be. How sometimes the concept of, a biological parent being better suited to parenthood than these people who, again, are not following the rules, are not, necessarily being law abiding citizens, how maybe those people who are outliers are better suited to taking care of a child. um, and it's a really challenging film in that things are always kind of turning around. Like the different facts come out about their backstories at different times. You really get a full picture, but it's not until the very end that you see how everything connects. And I actually really love that about this one. The Shoplifters is a little different, as I mentioned, than a lot of Koreeda's other movies, but it still has that ability to almost force a connection between you and the other characters, and that's far and away the best aspect of this movie. Um, it makes you think about what's important about family, what makes a family, and you know I 100% am still thinking about some of the concepts explored in this movie. And it's been a few weeks since I first watched this one. So I would definitely say if you're looking for a movie that makes you think, that absolutely will make you feel, that will likely make you cry in a lot of spots, not a lot of spots, but definitely a couple spots at least. Um, if you're not looking for your traditional happy family film, this one might be a really great one for you. It's just it's absolutely beautiful in a very quiet, non-traditional way, I would say. So if you like those kinds of movies, please, please, please check out Shoplifters. Uh, while not traditional and not certainly not your traditional kind of happy ending at all, please do not go into this expecting like your traditional happy ending. It is still 100% worth the watch. Extraordinary acting, gorgeous writing, beautiful directing. It's just an incredibly well made film that does an exceptional job of exploring the concept of family. If you are not looking for a slightly melancholy, deeply introspective film that'll potentially put you through the ringer, maybe you're looking for something light, fluffy, and fun, and it doesn't get much lighter, fluffier, or more fun than 2002's Sweet Home Alabama, which is available on Hoopla Digital. This Reese Witherspoon vehicle is, much like most Reese Witherspoon vehicles, this candy-colored, beautifully fun, ridiculous rom-com, and it's just as enjoyable today as it was when it came out almost 2 decades ago. I cannot believe it's been that long, but it has. So in Sweet Home Alabama, we're following Melanie. She's this up-and-coming New York fashion designer. She seems to have the perfect life. She's got this handsome boyfriend played by Patrick Dempsey. He's actually, at the beginning of the film, already becoming a fiance, and that's kind of the crossroads that the entire plot hinges on. Melanie is super excited to start this next chapter of her life with Patrick Dempsey's character, but she's got to tie up some loose ends back home. Back home being this very, very small podunk town in Alabama. That would be where the Sweet Home Alabama comes from. But the loose ends that she's got to tie up are a little more complicated than they might seem at the very beginning of the film. Melanie is actually already married and remains married to Jake, a character played by Josh Lucas. For reasons unknown to us, they never officially divorced. They clearly were married very, very young, because at this time, 20 years ago. Reese Witherspoon would have obviously been very, very young, and we get the feeling that some time has passed between these splits and everything. So there's a little bit of mystery going on that unfolds as the movie progresses, but nothing is heavy. Nobody's hiding dark, deep secrets. It is very much a rom-com and a fun romp, and the characters you meet are very stereotypical, but they're still enjoyable and still very much likable. uh Again, this is not a challenging film at all. It's light. It's a good time, and sometimes that's all you're looking for. I love all of the elements where she goes back home and sort of has to face her past, but it's not really about like this deep exploration of things that happened to her prior to her new fancy life. It's just, she's learning to reconnect with people that she loved, and she is facing things that she never bothered to deal with, and she's rediscovering friendships that she sort of let go of as she worked towards this goal of being a fashion designer. And I love any movie that explores friendships like that. There's some people that you can not see for years and years, and then when you see them again, it's like picking up a conversation. Like no time has passed at all. And a lot of the characters in this, it feels very much like that. And I absolutely love and can relate to those relationships. Her parents are not at all typical parents. They are, ridiculous and odd and quirky and thoroughly likable as well. So, it's just a fun, light little movie that explores how you can go home again. You can rekindle old flames. You can repair broken bonds. Some things are stronger than time. So if you're looking for something that is going to make you smile a whole lot, that's not going to make you cry all over the place, Sweet Home Alabama, let me tell you, it's a good one. And definitely a good time. So again, Sweet Home Alabama, available on Hoopla Digital. Check it out. Moving right along to my Canopy recommendations, the first of those is this lovely little independent 2019 film called Abe. Now, Abe is a passionate 12-year-old aspiring chef. He has this dedicated following on the internet. They follow his Instagram and everything. He puts together flavor combinations that you wouldn't expect. He loves exploring different tastes from different countries. He really is passionate about the concept that food and cooking will bring people together. And he is so passionate about this, in particular, because his own family has some pretty serious issues. He's half Israeli, half Palestinian, and we learn pretty early on that the two halves of his family cannot be together in the same room without exploding into some kind of fight, whether it just be a super duper snarky altercation or full-blown yelling, insults being slung across the kitchen table. I mean, these are people who devolve from grown responsible adults into whining toddlers within moments of being within distance of one another. And it's honestly a little bit hard to watch in those parts. I mean, not in a way that like you think anything really terrible or dangerous is going to happen, but just in a way that's super relatable. Like that these families 100% exist. Like people who are like this, who can be totally reasonable from one moment and then turn, and just something that's sort of ingrained in their psyche about another culture just snaps, and they're immediately not themselves. And it's frustrating. I think that's the better word. It's frustrating when those moments happen. And the director does such a good job of really filming the young man who plays Abe's face in those moments. You can see like the frustration, the hurt, the fear, like the pain. And, you connect with Abe. Whether you've experienced that or not, you absolutely connect with him in those moments. And you see why he's almost desperate with his obsession with food, that concept of like food being the gateway. And the film does an exceptional job of exploring how he has to essentially come to terms with the way things are. You know, whether or not his passion for food and cooking and his beliefs about food and cooking can affect his family is almost beside the point. It's that you want this belief, this faith, to be so strong that he sticks with it no matter what. Now, throughout the film, young Abe decides to meet with one of his foodie heroes, who is this street chef who makes really, really complicated fusion foods. And, Abe is determined to work with him, essentially learn everything he can so that he can continue to explore this concept of food being transformative. And, his relationship with this chef, it sort of blankets all of his other experiences, and it's really great to see that bond be made. How, he's not, or he's missing some pieces from his blood family members, so he gains it from this found family member on the outside. And we continue to explore his biological family's relationship with him. When the two halves are not together, things are, if not fine, certainly okay. It's very clear that everybody absolutely loves this little boy. Like they all do, very, very strongly. It's their relationship with each other that is what's causing all of the trauma. Things sort of hit the fan when a secret Abe's been keeping is uncovered, and we sort of see how it affects everyone. And that's when things really sort of shift. We see that things really start to shift. And I really honestly enjoyed the way everything was handled. Like I said, the moments that were hard to watch, they're meant to be hard to watch. They're meant to be like relatable. And the moments that are really sweet and beautiful, they absolutely will resonate with you. Abe would not be as solid if it were not for the young man who plays the main character. And Abe is actually played by Noah Schnapp, who is probably much better known as Will from Stranger Things. Again, I don't know how I had no idea this film existed, considering how much I love Stranger Things. But yeah, he does a phenomenal, nuanced job with this young man, who, the passion that he has for food comes across so strongly. The desire to connect with his biological family, along with the desire to connect with this brilliant street chef, everything feels really natural and is so emotive. I mean, he just does a phenomenal job. And everyone else in the movie does as well. All of the adults. I mean, it's hard to play that kind of character, the kind of characters that have to flip on that sort of jerk mode and not feel that they're being mustache twirly, to still feel the nuance, to still understand where they're coming from. And they all do a fantastic job of that. So if you're looking for a movie with a really interesting storyline, one that's not something I think you see all often, if you're looking for exceptional acting, great writing, excellent direction, I mean, it really, really was well directed, then check out Abe. It's on Canopy. It's a quick watch, and it's just a really, really solid film. So again, Abe, available on Canopy. Definitely check it out. My next recommendation is for the 2016 film Lion, which is based on a true story. This is a beautiful, phenomenally well acted film. It follows the young Saru. He is probably around 5 years old at the beginning of the movie. It's this very, very small town in India that we start our story in. He's at a train yard with his slightly older brother, but ends up getting separated from him and lost on a train. This train brings him thousands and thousands and thousands of miles from his home. He's so little, he doesn't know his address. He doesn't know, all the things you would need to know. And this is in a time period when we didn't have phones. It's not like he had a phone in his pocket that he could do an emergency call number on. And the distance and his youth make it essentially impossible to find his way home. And this little 5-year-old is all alone. He has only his instincts to go on, and it's quite harrowing. The opening of the film, like, for the first set, is kind of scary. I mean, you get put in that child's place and you feel it. I mean, you really do feel like the anxiety and the fear and really the terror that you would feel of being separated from someone and then having no idea what to do to get back to them. He's learning to survive alone in a big city. Again, at 5, he has to rely on instincts. And when I think about the fact that this movie is based on a true story, it is chilling. Some of the stuff that he faces at 5 early on in the movie. He ends up, however, being adopted by an Australian couple, the mother of whom is played by Nicole Kidman, who does an exceptional job in this. We do a bit of a time jump. 25 years later, Saru is a young man. He has grown into someone intelligent, capable, played by Dev Patel, who is always a phenomenal actor. I mean, I love everything he's been in. Anyway, he doesn't have a lot to go on. He has a handful of memories, but he decides that he wants to see if he can find his family back in India, because he's grown up in Australia. He is, pretty far removed from all of that. So he only has these little bits and pieces to go on. And, it's all about figuring out how to balance the love that he has for his adopted parents. And he does, there's no like big drama where you see like the mother feeling betrayed or anything like that. No, she's his mother. She wants good things for him. He wants to find his biological family. She wants him to be happy. She wants this for him. It's beautiful. Exploring those bonds of this adopted family versus the desire to know his biological family, to find out if they're okay, to find out what happened, and it's just really beautifully explored, all of those concepts. It's definitely an adventure. I don't know that I would call it coming of age, because we do have that time skip, and he is a full grown adult at the point where we're really exploring the meat of the familial bonds. But at the same time, it does have little bits of those sort of tropes to it. It's just really a wonderful, well acted movie. It's based on a true story as well as a memoir / biography, I guess you'd say. And I have read it. I actually really enjoy the film. It moves along at a really well done pace, and again, the acting really pulls you in. But I would still, if you enjoy the film, recommend reading the book. It explores some things that we don't get to see in the movies, just because movies, you can't explore an entire novel, or not novel, an entire memoir in the span of a couple of hours. Anyway, if you're looking for something that looks at adoption, that looks at bonds and connection regardless of its basis on blood or pure love. Check this one out. I really, really did enjoy it, and I really think the acting especially is just top notch. So again, Lion, available on Canopy, definite must watch. All right, my last recommendation for this week, also of course available on Canopy, is for the 2019 film The Taste of Pho. Now, I absolutely loved this movie. I don't know if it's just because I found a lot of the themes relatable, but it just was thoroughly enjoyable for me. In The Taste of Pho, we are following a Warsaw-based Vietnamese chef uh, struggling to assimilate into European culture, whereas his 10-year-old daughter is just embracing everything Polish that uh, could possibly exist. And sort of their relationship, the struggles that they have with one another because of the disparity in the ease with which they find themselves relating to their new community. It's about how much they love one another and how much they are tied to each other because it's just the two of them. This is a very small unit, and it's rife with love and affection, but also total misunderstanding. Um, it's a movie about food and culture and connection through food and culture. It's about immigrant struggle, about immigrant stereotypes. If you happen to have parents who are immigrants, there are so many moments in this uh, where, like, I can recall things like this happening in the U.S. It's like those common moments that connect all of us, and I really loved that about this movie. You're dealing with kind of what could be considered very, very heavy themes in a light manner. Like I said, I giggled through a lot of this movie, even when touching on themes that in other films I would have felt a bit more of a knee-jerk sort of like visceral kind of reaction to. I just sort of was like, yep, that happens, and smile and laugh about it. um and it's just a lovely little film that explores the relationship between this father and daughter, their relationship with their newfound community, their relationship with their culture, their identities due to that relationship. And I really, really enjoyed it. It's not a big laugh out loud, mile a minute film or anything like that. It's quiet, it's fun, it's sweet. It does have dramatic moments that are very well acted by both the father and the daughter. It has some really heartfelt moments between the two of them, and I live for father-daughter films that have moments like that. It's just I 100% am a sucker for those. It's a good small film. So if you're looking for something that really explores a relationship and how, it's not, a family can be two people, a family can be just this tiny, tiny unit, then please check out The Taste of Pho. It was unexpected and lovely, and I really enjoyed it, and I cannot recommend it enough. So again, Taste of Pho, available on Canopy. All right, so those are my recommendations for the week. Next week we are at Thanksgiving break, so there won't be a video upload on Black Friday, but I will be back the following week. If you have recommendations for other movies about families that you think we should be watching, please comment with those below. I'm always looking for recommendations, and I absolutely have loved some of the recs that we've had in the comments below before, so please keep that up. If you have recommendations for themes that you'd like to see us cover in the future, please comment with those as well. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I absolutely love putting these videos together, and I really, really hope that you are enjoying the recommendations as well. So with that, I'm going to sign off and say goodbye for this week, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.